For what is it?
My new background stuff.
Oh, okay.
Can I
Let me
make you?
share this link to my personal page. Try to get some people. Maybe someone will log on and talk to us about something.
Maybe.
That would be fun. All right.
Did you ever get that new ad read from her?
Yeah, I did. I have it.
Okay. All right. I'm good to go if you are.
Yep.
All right. Three, two, one, go.
Coasties looking for entertainment this weekend can catch the next Aquarius event at the train depot in downtown Bay St. Louis. Join Patty, Zach, and the elusive Dalton Roan himself on Saturday at noon as they guest host an open mic for musicians and comedians of any experience level. Don't forget to contact them about your next big event. Follow Aquarius on Facebook and Instagram to keep up with their latest projects or to contact them about bringing yours to life. And as always, thank you to our Patreon supporter, Mr. Ernie Kinnemer, and let's start.
Greetings, everyone. It is Thursday night, and you know what time it is? It's time for the Open Micers podcast. My name is Jason Robbins.
I'm Seth Rogen from a distance, Jacob Craig.
That's right.
And tonight we were supposed to be joined by New Orleans comedian AJ Bell. He came in on the Zoom. He looked like he had a little trouble connecting. So we restarted the Zoom meeting so that it didn't eat up our time. I haven't heard from him since then. Perhaps he will join us during the
Yeah,
show at
maybe.
some point. But Jason has other things that he has to do. He has another podcast to do at 8, so we can't exactly just wait around. We got to give you guys a show, man.
Yeah.
Got to give you a show. But we were talking before the show about our experiences Monday and yesterday at two different shows, one in Pensacola, and I went to an open mic last night here on the Gulf Coast in Ocean Springs. And the two things that those shows have in common is hecklers. We both had to deal with hecklers at both of those
Hmm.
shows. So we're just going to discuss the topic of hecklers for a little bit, man. And, if you guys are watching live, you can send us your questions and talk to us. But in the meantime, we're just going to, riff off our opinions and talk about what happened. What happened to you Monday in Pensacola, Jason?
All right. So I've been trying. I've dealt with hecklers before, but Monday was like it got in my head bad. Uh, because before the pandemic started, it was like I think both of us. You're way more sharper than I am right now. You've actually kept up
Yes.
your
More,
sharpness,
yeah, more sharpened.
more
Absolutely.
sharpened. But over the last year, I feel like I've maybe gotten a little soft, not as quick as I used to be. Because when you're not on stage doing stuff all the time like we were, you kind of lose your edge a little bit. And I haven't had to deal with any hecklers
Yeah.
in a while. So we were doing a show, me and you. It was my first real booked paid gig since the pandemic.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
I guess for both
It,
of us, was it for you too, or have you had a
no,
booked gig?
actually, I've had a couple since the pandemic. Since things have kind of calmed down, I've had a couple.
Yeah, I haven't had any booked gigs. This is my first booked gig back, so I really wanted it to be a good one. And we did a show. Me and you did a show with the governor over in Pensacola, and I was the last comedian added to the roster. There was what, four comedians that night. I was the
Something like that.
last one added on, so of course I get to go up first, and which doesn't bother me. I mean, I get asked to go up first all the time, by Krangus and stuff because I'm one of the elder comedians around here. So he knows that I'm good at getting a crowd warmed up. I'm something I'm good at. And I don't mind going up first, but this show, this place we never been to, it was some brewery.
Yeah, it was called Coastal County Brewery,
Yeah,
or Brewing Company in Pensacola. It's actually a really fun spot with
yeah.
really good beer.
It's a really nice
They
place. I
all
was
people.
I was really impressed with it, and I was excited to do the show, outdoor show. I had a nice big tent set up. They have the big pretty string lights up all over the place. It's very very nice outdoor place, and so I get to go up first, and the host announces me, starts the show, doesn't really do an opening bit or anything. Just kind of goes up,
Yeah, did
tells a
one joke.
joke, did one joke, and then calls me up. I'm like, okay, here we go. Soon, and before I even get on the stage, I hear from the this table full of women.
Florida bimbos, yes, correct.
You're nicer than I am. Over on the side, I hear, "I hope you're funny." I'm like,
Exactly like that.
oh,
Almost exactly like that.
uh,
Literally, literally the sound that this woman made. She said, "I hope you're funny." Huh? She did that. Exactly like that.
and my heart sank immediately. I was just it broke my spirit before I even got to the stage. I was like, oh my god. So I get up there and I tell my first joke, and it lands like a my first joke out of the gate just lands like a wet turd, just bleh,
Yeah.
right there on the concrete. And before I can even recover, I hear whack whack,
Yeah.
and she said something. I don't remember what she said, and
Oh, she kept going after you, dude.
yeah, she kept going
After every
after me,
joke.
and I'm just like, just shut up. Like, you're not part of the show. But it just, and then her and the whole table of women just continued to talk as loud as they could, be very disruptive. And it
Yeah.
just threw me off my whole game. Like, my entire set list just left my head. Like, I could not finish a joke. I couldn't start it. I didn't know what was coming up next in the set. Like, it just completely just
Yeah.
destroyed me.
So here's what happened from my perspective. So these women heckled you for probably the first 4 minutes of your set.
Mhm.
They
I had
got
to
up and
do
left.
10 minutes. So
Had to do
I
10
did
minutes.
10 minutes.
They got up and left. Were really loud when they left. They got in a lifted Jeep
Yeah.
and peeled off like in the loudest fucking Jeep I've ever heard. And while they were heckling as well, a plane flew over us. So you couldn't fucking hear them heckling or you doing
Yeah.
comedy while this plane was flying over this tent
which,
outside.
yeah, which is happened multiple times throughout the set because
It did.
it's right next to there's like a huge naval base over there in Pensacola's, and apparently this bar is like right underneath the flight path when they're coming in for a landing or
Yeah.
taking off.
Don't get me wrong though. It was an amazing bar. I mean, we both had a lot of fun there. But so they left, and when they left, you recovered. You got some laughs
Yeah,
when they left. The mistake that you made was you didn't get your material back, and
yeah.
so you cut yourself short.
It just I couldn't get the ball rolling. Like once that
Yeah,
if I would have been at my sharpest, I would have controlled that situation immediately.
yeah,
But just not doing it for a while, not being it's amazing how like not doing something regularly
hmm
really just it's not like riding a bike, man. It's like your mind is not as sharp if you're not doing it all the time. And I've handled hecklers before. It's not my first time handling hecklers, but for some reason that incident either well, I'm using it as fuel, honestly, to light a fire under my ass to be like, okay,
yeah,
it's time to quit fucking around and get back get back to where I was and beyond.
yeah, yeah. It's time to get back, and I had to do the same thing. Right after or really during the pandemic, because I never really stopped doing comedy shows. Well, I stopped doing comedy shows for about 3 months, and that's about how long it took to figure out how to do things safely and differently.
Yeah.
So once that got figured out, I started doing the shit again. And let me tell you, when I came back to doing comedy after 3 months of not doing it, I forgot bits that I had written when I was 14 years old that
Yeah.
I know by heart.
Well, that's the thing. Like right before the pandemic hit, I was supposed to open for Brent Terhune. I was supposed to do
Yeah.
25 minutes, and I did my first test run of that 25 minutes at the open mic that you used to host at a place in Ocean Springs. And all that material was like right there in my head. All 25 minutes of it, I could just flow from one joke to another. And it was my first. It was I had only done it like what twice before the
Something like
pandemic
yeah,
hit, and I was getting better at not having to glance at like bullet
notes or set
points,
list or anything.
to kind of if I strayed and found a new path for a joke, which I tend to do sometimes, I'll kind of forget where I was supposed to go after that. So just a little bullet point to look at and be like, okay, I know where I'm supposed to be. but all those jokes were there. I could rattle them off one after another. Now, I don't remember any of those jokes. Like I would have to go and redo all those jokes again, like at open mics to in 5 minute increments to get them in my head again.
Yeah, and see, even when I have weeks where I can't get stage time, I look through my notebook, because I personally don't believe necessarily in getting rusty at things.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a way to overcome that if you do the work by yourself at home. If you look at your notebook, go over it in your head, time
yeah,
it, even punch it up, even rewrite stuff.
yeah,
It's like you can make that up, but the thing is that it's harder to do that. Like it's more work to do that than it is to take something onto a stage,
yeah,
because you get immediate feedback from an audience, from other comics, from everything. And when you're doing it by yourself, there's just so many more variables, and
yeah.
it's just a lot harder work to have to overcome.
And to be honest, it's easier for me to remember stuff, like remember my jokes when I go up on stage to do them because it's almost like it forces my brain to, for those jokes to imprint on my brain than it is to like sit and read them or go over. Like I can read something all day long, but you ask me to recite it after I read it, and I'm like, "Brr." But if
Yeah,
I listen to something and say stuff, that's when it imprints in the brain. So I have to be active with it.
yeah. I think my weakest point as a comic is that I have gotten far too addicted to the set list.
Yeah,
Because we both have this little app called Comedy Companion that we use. That you can put your set list on it, and you can also time yourself. So I always have my phone on stage to time myself. Don't even really need to look at the light. I can time myself and get off stage when I'm supposed to get off stage. But my set list is right there. And something my public speaking teacher in junior college told me is that if you have the writing in front of you, you're gonna read the writing no matter
yeah,
what,
exactly.
no matter what. And so since I have my set list right there, even though I know the order, even though I know the bits, I still look at it every three or four bit,
Yeah.
third or fourth bit that I do to make sure that I'm doing it
See, that's
correctly.
always been my crutch. And I
Yeah.
need to break myself of that is to have that little piece of paper to the side with bullet points. Like I feel like I don't know, that's like my safety blanket to have, the bullet points.
Yeah, and see, there's no harm, no foul when you're doing that at an open mic, or even at a book show where there's no stakes or anything,
Yeah.
like Monday. There's
Yeah.
no harm in using a set list there, man. It's just all good fun. We're just there to make people laugh, and if that's what we do to make people laugh a little better, then whatever. But it's just the bigger spots. Like, what if there's a producer in the audience and you don't know, and you're fucking killing it, but you're looking at a set list.
Yeah.
The guy's gonna be like, oh well, kid's got his notes right there. He's not ready to do anything.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, it's just I don't know. It just amazes me like what goes through people's heads when they heckle. Like why do you feel the need to do
Yeah, dude, I've been telling everyone this story about Monday, and what I've been telling everyone is like, what made her think that anyone wanted to hear anything that was coming
Yeah.
out of her mouth?
Nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody likes you. Even people in the crowd don't think you're funny. They think you're being annoying.
Exactly. If you had something interesting to say, then you would have the microphone
Yeah.
right now, Becky. You don't have anything interesting to say, Becky.
Like I don't go to the bank and walk up to the teller and be like, "I could cash checks better than you. You suck."
Yeah, exactly, dude. That's something
What's
that
up,
I do when
Rampage?
oh, what's up, Rampage?
Rampage.
If you want us to talk about something, brother, just let us know, man. Just put it in the chat. But yeah, something that I actually get hecklers with is anytime someone heckles me, I'll be like, dude, I don't go to your job at the Popeyes drive-through and tell you what to do. Like I don't get up in your face. I don't get in your microphone and yell.
Yeah,
I'm at work right now. Don't fuck with me, man.
exactly.
But an experience that I had last night with a heckler, luckily it wasn't an entirely personal experience because I went up first at an open mic. That's just kind of how things shook out. I signed up number 5 and everyone signed up under me. So, that's just how it goes.
Yeah,
But just so happens that there wasn't really that much of a crowd there for my set. Um, So I pretty much have to do all the material that I tried out again to see, on an actual crowd if it's any good. But luckily, I had the one uninterrupted set because after my set, a bunch of dude bros came in whose their names were literally Chad and Hayden. Um, yeah, and
You can't make this shit up.
can't make this shit up, man. Being loud as fuck, and I talked to one of them later, who ended up being like a really cool guy. He was not on his friend's side with what he was doing the entire time. So but he was just talking really loud while other people were watching the show. But his friend that he brought with him was the loudest person in the fucking bar, constantly facilitating conversations with people that are actively trying to watch the show. Getting like in front of the stage, standing up, talking to people in the line of sight of people trying to watch the show.
My
And
God.
then when comedian Two Real, who will get on the show if he can ever schedule anything and actually show up, um, he the only way that he was going to get the crowd back was if he tried to shut this guy up. So he did some crowd work with him, roasted him a little bit. Nothing mean. Talked about his boots. You know, that's it.
Mhm.
He just roasted him a little bit, roasted about how he looked. And then the kid decided to stand right next to the soundboard, heckle every single joke after that. He was even touching the
Uh,
soundboard, dude.
Dude, you don't
He was
touch the
adjusting the
soundboard.
fucking soundboard. I do not know. And look, I know the security at the juke joint. All right, that's where this happened. I don't know how many fucking chances you have to get before you get kicked out. I don't know. That kid should not have been in that fucking
No.
bar after he touched that property of the bar.
The
He
minute you
should have
touch
been
the
in
soundboard,
fucking
you're done.
you're done. And dude, if that was a comedy club, the second he walked in, he would have been done.
Yeah.
But the security gave him chance after chance until he almost started a physical confrontation, which what he did is he decided that it was a good idea to sign up on the open mic list because he thought he would have the upper hand with a mic in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
But what you don't do is you don't come in and insult comedians, especially professional comedians who have been doing this for years, because it's going to piss me off when you just decide, well, I could get on stage
Yeah.
and do everything that this guy has worked his ass off for 4 years. No, you don't do that.
That's the
So I
thing.
heckled him. Everyone heckled him.
Yeah. If that's what I'm gonna do from now on. If there's a heckler, I'm just gonna offer him the microphone. Be like, you know what? You finish my set for me. You got 10 minutes. And
Yeah,
see what they
exactly.
do. And then just heckle the fuck out of them. Be like,
And what this kid did is he got himself in a situation where the only way he wasn't going to look like a bitch is if he tried to make it physical.
mm,
So he tried to make the confrontation physical, and he went outside on the front porch and cried, and he sped off, and he got pulled over by a cop. So it was
instant
somewhat of an
karma.
instant karma situation, and you know, it's like when you do that kind of thing at a comedy show with professional comics, you have to understand that there's no fucking way you're going to have the upper hand because you're
Yeah.
in our home doing something that we do consistently. And if you're going to try to do it and you're going to try to heckle and you're going to try to be an asshole, we're better at being hecklers and assholes than you are.
Well, not
And we
only
will literally
that,
make
but
you cry.
if you try to do a physical confrontation with with any of the comics, I mean, this is
You have to fight all the comics at that
already
point, dude.
happened. I mean, look at the Jason Waterfalls
Exactly.
incident. I mean, he got up in Jimmy James's face. Me, Krangus, who else was there? You weren't there that night, were you?
No, I was. It was me as well.
Yeah, it
Brian
was
King,
you, Brian King,
everybody.
all of us were surrounded that dude. Was like, you lay one finger on that dude, we're gonna turn you into a big wad of chewing gum. That's what's gonna
Patty
happen.
Dwyer was in there as well. Little
Yeah,
Patty Dwyer was going to kick his ass, dude.
yeah. Patty would have been up in there like kicking him in the nuts.
Yeah. And that same thing happened here. It wasn't as bad, but this guy was, physically threatening Too Real, who I mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
And while people were trying to break this up, I had a balled fist, and if he tried to fight Too Real, he was going to fight me as well.
yeah.
And when it doesn't matter who you are, you can be a professional MMA fighter. If you're trying to fight two people, you're not going to fucking win.
And that's something that we really need to get with security at the bars around here, especially when we're doing open mic nights.
Because
doing
we're our own security. We have
booked shows, especially someplace like the Juke Joint. I mean, it seems like the Juke Joint is the place where every 2 to 3 months there's an incident, you know,
to.
like there's physical altercations, and it's like you got to get that security to to be more proactive, man. Like if somebody's starting shit, they got to go, and especially on open mic nights, like we just need to put out like I don't know, sandwich boards or something. Be like, it is a comedy night. If you come in here, you're going to be quiet. If you want to talk, there's a front porch and a gigantic back patio you can go to and talk as loud as you want. But if you're in
But
the bar and you're disrupting the show, it's time for you to go outside.
yeah, and here's the problem with that. This guy already knew that was what was happening. His friends told him to stop.
Yeah.
Security already talked to him and told him to shut his mouth, and he didn't listen to anybody.
Well, if security tells him to shut his mouth and then he keeps it up, security needs to go over there and be like, "Time for
Exactly.
you to go."
That's what I'm saying. And whenever someone fucks up, I'm gonna be critical of them, whether I like them or not. I like the security people at the juke joint.
Yeah,
They should have kicked him out
I do
immediately.
too. I mean, they are getting paid off of what we're doing, basically.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, no, that,
we're bringing in the crowd for
yeah,
comedy nights. None of us are getting paid unless people throw money in the tip bucket or one of
which
us
no one did.
wins, one of us wins like set of the night or whatever. And even still, it's not that much money.
Right.
Like we're bringing in crowds for this, like so you to get paid. So do your job. We like
Exactly.
you. You're there to protect us.
Exactly, man. And as a stand-up comic, it's especially a stand-up comic who travels on the road, you shouldn't you shouldn't have to be tough, but you have to be tough because
Yeah,
you have to be your own security. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on the road and someone tried to pick a fight with me, and I
yeah,
had to disarm them by being funny,
yeah,
like because I didn't want to get arrested somewhere that I don't live.
yeah. Exactly.
Because that's I don't have the money to get out of that situation, and I really don't want to spend fucking 6 months in the Panama City prison system,
No
bro.
shit. Because the last thing I want to do is, I don't have to break a beer bottle over somebody's head because they're trying to kick my ass. Like
Exactly, dude.
I'm a freaking comedian. I'm not a freaking MMA fighter.
Right. And that's what we do, man. And these people don't understand. It's not selfish. We're not doing this because you're ruining our sets. We're doing this because you're ruining it for the people
Yeah,
watching us.
exactly.
And if you sat down and shut your mouth for 5 minutes, you would probably laugh at me too,
yeah.
man.
I just don't get it, man. Like I just don't get the whole heckler mindset. It just, yeah, I've never once in my life went up to anybody at their job and just be like, "You suck."
Yeah.
I could do your job better than you. Like I just because we're on stage as comedians or people act like it's not a job, but it's a job. Like
Yeah, man, absolutely. If you get paid to do it, it's a job. And if you get paid to be a comedian, you get paid to travel to places. Guess what, man? You're a professional comedian.
yeah, nobody wants to hear you, Chet.
Exactly.
Like nobody wants to hear your opinions, Chet.
Or Becky.
Yeah, or
Man,
Becky or
Becky's
Karen
just as bad, dude.
or 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 Tristan. Nobody wants to hear your opinions, Tristan.
Yeah, man. And it's just I don't even know. I could never fathom. The only reason I'm not gonna lie, I've wanted to heckle people before, but the reason I wanted to heckle them was because they were doing what I was doing way worse.
Yeah.
Like, so I would heckle somebody if I went into a Pizza Hut and they fucked up my order. I'd be like, "Hey, I used to work at Pizza Hut. I used to do this better than you."
Yeah.
That's when you know, if there was if Louis C.K. showed up and sat in the audience and decided to heckle me, I'd be like, "Yeah, maybe you have a point, man. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe you have a point, but Becky doesn't have a point.
Yeah.
You know, Hayden doesn't have a point
Yeah.
because they've never had anything interesting to say in their entire lives."
I'm gonna use that incident as fuel to light a fire under my ass because I'm never gonna let that happen again. That was the worst feeling in the world. Like
Mhm.
I didn't get any sleep that night because all I did was just sit there thinking of like Like my brain finally kicked in at like midnight. It was like, here's what you should have said. Like, well, thanks. A little late now, brain.
Right. Yeah, man, and that's what you have to do. You have to not worry about uh being, I guess, apprehensive.
Yeah,
If someone is starting shit with you, you're the one with the upper hand because you're a professional comedian with a mic in your hand. You
yeah,
you got to shut them down. And one of the sciences of comedy is putting somebody below somebody else. And a lot of times, comics, that's why self deprecating humor works because you put yourself below the audience.
yeah,
But if you put a certain audience member that's being at an asshole the whole time below the rest of the audience, then by scientifically, that's funny.
yeah.
Everyone's going to get a laugh at the expense of this person, and they're going to be too embarrassed to say anything else.
It's just too
Unless,
bad that old Becky and her crew didn't stay around on Monday because I would have loved to seen what you would have done to that table
yeah,
when
I
you got
mean,
on stage.
the first joke I did was making fun of them after they already left, and it got a good pop from the crowd. I'm glad they left because I had 10 minutes of material I wanted to do, and I didn't want to do 10 minutes on Becky's table.
Yeah.
Uh, but you have to understand if the person before me gets heckled and those people are still there, my whole set's going to be about those people because, guess what? The person that you just fucked with before was my friend on
Yeah.
any show. Even if it's someone I don't even know, even if it's a comic I don't even like,
Yeah.
they're my friend now. And I'm going to fuck with you because you fucked with my friend.
Well, even still, like she started, like I said, she started heckling before I even got on the stage. Like I knew she was going to be trouble the
And
second
look,
I
man,
walked on stage. I'm just like, man, I don't even want to deal with this. Like this is my first show back. Like I want to have a good show, and this dirty broad's already like laying into me before I even walk on. Like you don't know me, and
right,
like my comedy may not be your cup of tea, but it might be somebody else's. Like might be everybody else's. So if you don't like it, shut the fuck up and
right,
leave. If you
exactly.
don't like it, if you don't like it, fucking leave. It's a free goddamn country. You're
Yeah,
not
man.
forced to sit here and listen to comedians that you don't like. And if somebody says something you don't like, guess what? Too fucking bad. Leave.
Right. You don't even have to leave. Go inside. Go
Yeah.
inside the bar. We're outdoors. We're outside. You're just sitting down outside. Go sit down in the bar.
Yeah.
And so for people who don't know, I was nominated for the best comedy host at the 228 Awards. So I know a little bit of something about hosting comedy shows. I have the experience to prove it. As a host at a comedy show, it is your job and your job alone to make sure that hecklers and people being loud don't happen.
Yeah.
Because if I'm being completely honest, people being loud in a bar, not the security's concern. It's security's concern when they do something like touch the soundboard or have a physical confrontation.
Yeah.
If they're being loud, if they're yelling at people on the stage, that is the host's concern. And you have to go over and disarm them. And you don't have to be threatening. You can go over and level with them as people. Just tell them, explain to them, hey, people want to see this. You might not want to see it, but this guy worked really hard. These people around you want to see them. And if you can just please keep it down just a little bit, or just don't say anything to him, just give him a chance.
Yeah.
And nine times out of 10, that works.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, I don't want to say anything bad about these people because they're my friends, but the hosts Monday didn't do their job as a host. I love you guys. I love you guys. Fucking love you guys.
Yeah.
Do anything for you guys. Didn't do your job as a host. The host last night at the juke joint, it was a guest host.
Mm.
She didn't do her job as a host. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. I told
Yeah.
her afterwards she did a great job as a host because she did. She did really good aside from that incident.
But you're right. I have guest hosted some open mics, and that's part of your job is part of crowd control. Somebody's being rowdy.
It's
You
not
you got to
fair,
put a
but that's
stop
what
to
you
it.
get paid for. You
Yeah.
don't get paid for the material you do up front. You don't get paid for bringing up the comics and remembering how to bring them up. You get paid for making sure that these comics have good sets.
Yeah.
And if someone gets in the way of that, you have to shut it down.
And that's the thing, like instantly getting heckled and getting up there and bombing on the first joke. I could have recovered from that, that because I tried to, you know, self-deprecate at that point to recover, but she wasn't gonna let me. It was like she
Mhm.
thought I was gonna suck before I even got on stage. I bombed the first joke, and she was gonna let everybody know that I was a shitty comedian. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you would have just given me a minute to get to my next joke, you might have thought it was funny. Maybe not. I don't know. But if you have that attitude, like, why are you at a comedy show? Like, why?
Exactly. Why are you going to go to a comedy show if you're not there to laugh?
Yeah. If you're there to just be, you know, happy or funny, like, if you have that attitude, fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Look, I
That's all
told
I
you
got to say.
afterwards. I roasted this bitch all the way home, dude. She looked like her OnlyFans was free. Ain't nobody paying for that shit, bro. Her OnlyFans was free, dog. That's a free subscription. She just wants
Uh,
the attention because her daddy walked out on her. You know what I
I
mean?
should have said what was going through my head at the time. And I had David Attenborough in my head at the time. And he was going, if you see here, we have the elusive Karen. Her species will literally die if she's not the center of fucking attention.
Yeah, man. That's what you have to do, man. Like if someone's doing that to you and the host isn't doing your job and you want to have a good set,
Yeah,
as unfair as it is, that's what you're gonna have to do to actually get back on
yeah.
track.
But it woke me up. It definitely did. So I gotta say it was a good thing. It was
Yeah.
really I gotta put a positive spin on it because I'm not the type of person to be like, well, one person thinks I suck, so screw the hundreds of people or maybe even thousands. I don't know that have seen me perform before and thought I was funny and told me I was funny and laughed at my jokes. I'm not gonna let that one person ruin 4 years of work. So
Right.
I'm just gonna take it and use it as fuel. So I'm gonna look at it as a positive.
Right. And that's what we have to do, man. Anytime something negative happens, if you can spin it as a positive, if you can see the best out of it, it's what you
Yeah.
have to do.
Well, too bad AJ couldn't join us tonight. I guess he still had technical difficulties. Like we said, he was in the Zoom chat room, but his audio wasn't connecting. And then we tried to get a hold of
Yeah.
him on Messenger and couldn't get him back. So we don't know what happened. Maybe we'll try to reschedule him for another show.
Yeah, not sure what happened. Apparently, that's the uh biggest difficulty with hosting a podcast over Zoom is actually hosting a podcast over Zoom.
Yeah.
Uh, Zoom does not want to cooperate for everybody. Hopefully, AJ, you know, hope he's okay. Hope he's doing all right,
Yeah.
man. Love the guy. Uh, Maybe we can schedule something in the future. I know he's hosting karaoke tonight at 8:30 at Ugly Dog
Yeah.
Saloon. If anyone's in New Orleans and wants to go see him,
And
but
that
yeah, man.
starts at 8:30, I believe, if anybody is in or near the New Orleans area.
Yeah, 8:30. So AJ, if you're listening to us, man, we love you, brother. Sorry you couldn't join us. If you want to come on again in the future, just hit me up, man, and we'll try to make it work. But good luck tonight hosting.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for the show this week. It's a little bit shorter, but that's okay.
Yeah,
It's
we started a
content.
little later.
Yeah, we
and
started a little
and
late, so
Jason needs to get to Nerd Cave Retro.
yes, I do.
If I miss a meal, I will literally die. So I need to get the supper.
Here we have the elusive Jacob. His species will literally die if he does not eat every 30 minutes.
I need to start hitting the gym, dude. The
Rampage
kid ain't getting
says
funny no more.
Rampage says size doesn't matter, guys.
Thank you, Rampage.
Yeah, thank you. It's the content that matters, not the length.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for tonight. You got anything to plug before we go?
Let me see. So the next book show I have, I'll go ahead and start plugging it now, is actually Sunday, May 9th at the pub in D'Iberville. If you are a bit of a date aficionado, that is Mother's Day. So it's a Mother's Day show. If there are going to be drink specials, you are more than welcome to bring your mother and come laugh. Or if you just don't have anything to do, you can come laugh at us. My mother will be there. She will actually be doing her first comedy
I
set
cannot wait
that
for
night.
this.
Yeah, she's gonna roast me a little bit. Probably she's gonna try doing a few jokes.
And I gave her
Uh,
some jokes about Jacob, so I gave her some
yes,
roast
yes.
jokes.
Everyone's been helping her out a little bit, so it's gonna be kind of an homage to mothers. So if you want something fun to do Mother's Day night, you can bring your mom out to that. And this Saturday, we are talking to Daltanius from Aquarius Productions for our bonus episode. So we'll go live for that. And this Sunday, we are talking to Burning the Set List. We're
Yes.
going to do our cross promotional episode. So we'll be on Burning the Set List. Burning the Set List will be on Open Micers. So yeah, that's what we got coming up,
And that
man.
will be at what, 7 p.m. Sunday
Yes,
evening, Central
7
Standard
p.m.
Time.
Sunday and 7 p.m. Saturday for Daltanius.
Yes. Well, cool. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. And I have another show coming up soon, but I'm not sure where it's at. It's on the 27th in Pensacola again, so maybe I'll run into Becky and give her a
Maybe.
piece of my mind. But that's going to do it for this week. If you'd like to email us, it is, of course, openmikers@gmail.com. We're at Open Micers on Twitter and Open Micers Podcast on Facebook. And, of course, at TeePublic, you can pick up our T-shirts and masks and all that kind of stuff. tpublic.com/Open Micers Podcast. So we will see you guys this Saturday at 7 p.m. Join us. Well, that was a good one. I like that. Managed to
Yeah,
save
man.
the evening.
Yeah, that's something that we originally wanted to do that we never really did was just pick a topic and go on and talk about it.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and go so I can get everything switched over for
Yeah.
Nerd Cave Retro. And
Sounds good.
see you guys in about 15 minutes. Come back in 15, Rampage. And we'll see you guys then.